Hello, and welcome back to the desk. At this stage, one has to ask whether Donald Trump might be growing weary of the string of setbacks he's faced over the past month, as they show no signs of letting up. This is a significant development. Is history repeating itself once more? In our constant news environment, it often requires patience to gather accurate figures and verify facts, especially regarding events like the NFL's halftime performance during the Super Bowl. We'll touch on that in just a moment. But it's worth noting how certain figures, like Caroline Lion Lips, frequently comment on what they believe Donald prefers. They pose questions such as whether the television would feature the halftime segment with Bad Bunny or the one with Kid Rock. Kid Rock, the performer who once had lyrics touching on sensitive topics involving young people, delivered lines during his appearance about a book needing attention, a figure who sacrificed for humanity's redemption. Yet that drew laughter from some quarters. Lion Lips remarked that she believed the president would favor a Kid Rock set far more than anything from Bad Bunny. That was her take. However, the reality at the Mar-a-Lago gathering during the Super Bowl told a different story. The screens displayed Bad Bunny's performance. Afterward, Kid Rock, when speaking to reporters, attempted to deflect and shift responsibility toward the NFL itself. He was asked directly about his thoughts on Bad Bunny's act. He admitted he caught only portions, like many others. He noted the heavy presence of dancers and elaborate production. Bad Bunny aimed to create a lively dance atmosphere, and it appeared he succeeded. Kid Rock added that it wasn't to his personal taste, but he held no grudge against the artist for seizing the opportunity to reach a worldwide viewership. Instead, he directed criticism at the league. Since the Super Bowl concluded, questions have lingered about the genuine numbers. The much-promoted alternative halftime event from Turning Point USA has been labeled a considerable disappointment, attracting only a small portion of the viewership that Bad Bunny's official NFL presentation drew. This conservative-led program streamed online shortly before the main halftime event, and observers suggest it struggled to connect outside its dedicated following. And here comes another layer to this unfolding narrative. Donald Trump faces yet another defeat. You may find this hard to accept, but in this latest update, it turns out many of his staunch supporters provided inaccurate responses in immediate post-Super Bowl surveys about which performance they actually viewed. Recent revelations have clarified the availability details. A fresh survey reveals that the majority of Trump supporters skipped the so-called MAGA alternative Super Bowl halftime presentation, which featured Kid Rock as the lead. Trump and his backers had been outspoken in their criticism of Bad Bunny from the moment he was named the performer for the league's 60th halftime slot. While the Puerto Rican artist delivered an impressive guest-filled display in Spanish during the break, a group of prominent conservative figures staged what they termed the Great American Halftime Show. In its aftermath, the president posted sharply against Bad Bunny on Truth Social, and waves of his followers expressed their frustration online about the official halftime offering. Yet a new poll from The Economist and YouGov indicates that a clear 55% of Trump voters aligned with the broad majority of the public in choosing not to tune into the MAGA-backed alternative. Interestingly, among those who did view it, including a small 9% of Harris supporters, the reception was positive. Insights come from YouGov's Taylor Orth. Key findings include 46% of Americans reported watching the Super Bowl halftime featuring Bad Bunny. Among those who followed the full game, 72% also stayed for the official halftime. Additionally, 18% of non-game viewers still caught the halftime portion. Viewers of Bad Bunny's presentation were more inclined to rate it favorably compared to the game's overall enjoyment. Specifically, 48% called it excellent, 30% good, 12% fair, and 13% poor. Then 24% of Americans said they watched the All-American halftime show with Kid Rock and Brantley Gilbert. Although that's about half the audience of Bad Bunny's, those who saw it were marginally more positive. 47% excellent, 39% good, 8% fair, and 5% poor. Democrats showed far greater interest in Bad Bunny's show, 73% compared to 29% among Republicans, and much less in the All-American version, 12% versus 44%. But the most revealing insight from the detailed breakdowns is evidence that earlier surveys included outright inaccuracies from MAGA supporters. A notable 29% of respondents claiming to have watched the MAGA halftime said they viewed it on Fox, ABC, NBC, or CBS, networks that never broadcast it. They asserted seeing it on channels where it was simply unavailable. That's the reality check. Kid Rock might want to reflect on that. Perhaps redirect that energy elsewhere. The point stands. Claims were made about viewing something impossible on the stated platforms. It's striking. As the comedian Ron White once observed during his blue-collar days, some things defy correction. This situation stands out. Now the picture is clearer on actual viewership, who tuned in and in what numbers. So, Donald Trump, does the pattern of these outcomes ever become exhausting? If this resonated, please consider liking and sharing the video. Take care out there.